Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. Well, it all started 3 seconds ago as I was on this cliff. Wait, that's not me. That's me. Weird. So 3 seconds ago, the real me made the decision to throw 2 of my pawns off the cliff. The reason? I had to resurrect them both at the same time, as this was one of the 54 achievements I needed to fulfill my Dragon's Dogma 2 100% run. But I think that's a little bit out of context here. Let's just start from the very beginning. A little room, a bunch of bodies, and a really good time. But as all good things in life must come to an end, so did this one here. At one point, a random dude came in and got me out of this beautiful party. I had no other choice than to follow, and he introduced me to do some really heavy, annoying work. So some would consider this slavery, but not me. I kinda knew what that fellow was doing. Getting my strength up for some battles, right? Maybe preparing me for a fight with a biggest dragon or something like that? Could be. As we all know that maybe, just maybe, this could be a part of the story from... So I just went with it, but then everything escalated. Some snake lady broke into the camp and we all united and battled her. But it didn't take long and a new path opened up where suddenly a ghost appeared and told me I lost all my memories. Which kinda makes sense in this situation because I just went with everything they told me. Then some other dude told me to follow him and I got really confused. But I just went with the vibe and he seemed nice, so we started running. The random ghost reappeared and told us to jump. So we did and died. Would be a kind of funny twist, right? But no, we jumped and landed on a f***ing griffin which took us to safety. What a beginning. And with that epic start of the story, I also got my first trophy. Escaped from the bonds of slavery.
Oh, achievement.
From there the game really started and a dude named Justin appeared. He was pretty impressed by my griffin riding skills and he made the decision to lead me into a little camp where I also made contact with my very first Riftstone. Basically a kind of portal where I can summon pawns and send my own main pawn out for quests. And with that said, I basically immediately spawned my own little main pawn and then Justin immediately told us to go to Melf, because it maybe could be from help to go there, because I could maybe remember some stuff which can help me. So I followed his suggestion and ran through the woods, killed some innocent pigs and at one point ended up in the small town. And Justin was right, because this one here is a very special place. It seems that this little town here was the place where this damn idiot of a dragon appeared, ripped my heart out, flew off and ultimately left me behind in this damn mess of a world where I have to conquer all of these struggles. But it is fine, because otherwise there wouldn't be a story and I wouldn't have gotten my second trophy, Arisen. I remember stuff. So after that, I chatted a little bit around here in the town, which basically ended up with me agreeing to play personal bodyguard to a guy named Gregor. The task was simple: get to Vernworth. Get to Vernworth. I don't know how to pronounce it, and I will never pronounce it right. Get over it. The first major city and also the place where a big part of the story will take place. So on my way there, I learned a little bit more fighting and that those damn harpies are gonna be annoying for the whole game, I tell you. But I eventually got a little bit exhausted at one point, so I thought about having a tiny break and party with my comrades. And voila, the game likes that, because trophy free, go camping, done. So after a good night's sleep, we continued, encountered an ugly one-eyer and f***ed him up. And a few meters after that, fortune was on our side as an ox cart appeared. I jumped in and snoozed off and reached Vernworth. So what's the first thing you do in a big city? Exactly. Immediately getting accused of being a false arisen, a mere pretender and getting interrogated immediately. Suckers. But to my luck, that was all just show, because no one, especially Disa, the current queen, should know that I am the real sovereign, and so the only legitimate ruler of this kingdom. So you know, she's in a good position and wants her family to stay in this position. But then I, the chosen one, appears, and then suddenly the word gets to her that's not good for her, her plans and her family. So, you know, she has to make a move here. So she used someone as a puppet and put him into the position as a false sovereign. But no one knows that, so it kinda works. And that is where we are right now at this point. So finally done with the interrogation, I got out of the room and saw the ox cart in which I came here. And I just wondered if I could just jump on and off this fascinating vehicle. But no, you have to pay 100 gold for that. Greedy bastards. Okay. But with that one done, I finally wanted to get into the pub for an ice cold beer. So I went to the tavern and tried to order the local brand. But what should I say? The only brand I got was once again Captain Brand. Within I got a bunch of different quests and the story kicked off. Or something like that, if you ask me. Basically, the date of the coronation of the false sovereign was set, but only selected members who contributed greatly to Vermont's prosperity will be able to attend. So the plan is do some tasks, increase my reputation, receive an entry to this coronation, present my power in front of everyone, and easy peasy. The pretending arisen can suck my ass and I'm gonna be the real ruler and happy end. So let's get to the good deeds I have to do. For the first one, I had to rescue some poor bastards around Vernworth. First, I kicked some goblinesses outside the city and then took a big turn and went into a cave on the other side of the map. And inside, some suckers named Saurians waited for me. But my squad decimated their backside and success. I went out, reported my doings, and good deed number 1 done. After that it got pretty dark, so I made a quick rest at the city hotel and learned about the so-called pawn quests. Basically, my pawn helped some dude in another world. Hell yeah, good boy, I support that, and so I sent him out for a new one. Defeat a Cyclops for an extraordinary amount of 100 gold. And
to this world I return.
We got one more trophy. Nice. Then for my good deed number 2, I had to infiltrate the palace and find some evidence of Disa's misdeeds. That one was pretty straightforward. I went there at night, I went in, found her room and then some evidence. And then for the next one I had to rescue some dude in a cell called Walter. Brand said that if there is one guy that serves the Green Regent and will help me in my cause, it's him. So I made my way to his cell. The guards there and also in the palace in my prior task completely sucked ass. Because I learned afterwards that I should have disguised myself as another guard or something like that, but I completely overlooked it and basically everyone just completely ignored me and I did whatever the fuck I want and no one ever even tried to stop me, so I take that. But to summarize this whole encounter here, my boy only wants to leave his cell if I find a place with many books, knowledge and so on. So first thing I did of course was to go to the slums next to the palace. There a kid went missing, I helped searching for this kid and oh surprise surprise I found him at some point and with him a place which was exactly right for Walter. A place with many books where he probably wanted to go. So I went back to the prison, told him about the place and he agreed and I helped him escape. So task done. Then the next task was to find out who the false sovereign really is. And there is no better place to do this than on a masquerade. So I made myself pretty and attended this special event. I kinda was lost and just talked to everyone there, but no one could really help me. But at some point, after I waited way too long in this room, for whatever reason, someone came inside and a cutscene played. And well, this scene should have shown me where he went, but somehow it lagged out. What? So I came back to this later or something like that and then accidentally ran into the wall where the secret door was. So I went through outside and back into another building called the Rose Chateau. There, some lady helped me with the guards, took me into a room, and it got kinky. But not the way you think. We watched some dude through a tiny glory hole, and it showed the false sovereign with some ladies. And it didn't take long, and Queen Deezer came in and told him he's a sucker because he should do his job and not spend drunken nights with some ladies, and then this cutscene happened.
Why not remove yours as well? This is not the masquerade hall, and we now find ourselves quite alone. What say we dispense with such pretenses and speak openly with one another, Lord Phasus?
I have to say here, that was really an amazing coincidence that after all this time, exactly those two people come in, she tells her to take off his mask and da. So great writing here, I would say, but it's fine. We just remember Lord Phasus, I guess, because he seems important. So I went back to Brent, told him everything, and of course got some new stuff for my to-do list. I needed more information about the false sovereign. So I went to a village in the far east of the map, the so-called Nameless village. This village is like a disguise for a thieves guild, which makes sense since on my way finding the person I was looking for, I had to do some parkour to reach a secret underground door. So once I got there, I learned that the false sovereign is called Darab, and he was a thief. And in fact, he was the next thief master. But he f***ed up, hurt himself and got a big scar on his chest, and the title fell to the boy I am speaking to right now. So with the scar, he then pretended to be the Arisen, the wrong Arisen, the false Arisen, and the thief guild casted him out. So basically they hated him, which was kinda nice because they gave me an arrest paper for him, which I needed for advancing forward. And after that I also got my first master's teaching here, which are basically master skills for the corresponding vocations in the game. Just really good spells or attacks. And they are also part of a trophy I have to get, so I kinda need all those skills. And after that I went back and reported it to Brent once again. But of course, still not enough evidence. But luckily he got some spicy new information for me. A guy named Allard got a suspicious package delivered. Better investigate, right? So I did that and found once again a letter inside the palace in his room with some information in it which weren't exactly helpful, I would say. It said something about securing Melf and something about God's way, and that the Queen Regents conspires with Batthal, which basically is the next big area and city which is shorted off by a border. And as they didn't really have a good past, it seems that this is some risky behavior from our dear Queen. But good news here, I am now invited for the coronation, at least our captain told me. But before that, I should finish off some side business, as a big warning appeared before advancing. So I of course made a quick break here and did something else. But where do I start here? I thought maybe I should just go to Melf because it was mentioned in the letter. So I went off and suddenly a random ass woman I never saw before asked if I could take care of her house for a week. Which is completely insane if you think about it. But who cares, I just agreed and headed to Melf. There I witnessed a conversation between Ulrika and some annoying shithead named Martin, who blames her for the dragon attacks in the village, being a shit chief of the village and so on. I mean, come on, it's a dragon, not like she can do that much here. But it doesn't matter, it kinda escalated and he calls her a traitor and that she will be arrested and that they will take charge of the village and da. So after she ran off in the middle of the night, they couldn't do much here. So my objective was to find her. I went through the world until I reached another village where I witnessed once again a dispute. Like, once again, a ridiculous one. People of the village are dying in a cave and the leader says, I don't care. Ulrika says, let's go save them. He gets pissed and tells her to fuck off and leave the village. But then she decides to help the people anyway, which leads me to helping her and the people, and like 10 minutes later we get out and she gets to be the new chief of the village. I mean, that's like a kind of fast-paced version of getting the most important person in a village. I don't know. But why am I even telling you this? Because it's not really relevant to the main story. because as I helped her and she fell from her pretty little face, I received the trophy Affinity and Beyond because she now loves me. Sheesh. And after that I went back to the main city to plan my next move. And there I realized, oh shit, I never once even went inside the house I was taking care of. But it seemed that this woman didn't care about anything, because she just thanked me and asked if I would like to buy the house. And I was like, you are kinda crazy, but I agree. I want the house on my own. So I did that and voila! So before I advanced further in the story, I thought about getting some other trophies, as I wasn't sure about what's really getting cut off with the next story chapter. So I explored the world and ended up at some random hill where a dude was laying dead on the floor. And since he was the first dead one I ever saw, I thought he must be someone from importance. So I used one of my 2 precious wake stones on him.
Well met, sir. How might I be of service?
Are you for real? Not a thanks. Bastard. Little bastard. Then right in this area I was just completely lost. I went through some caves and had basically no life left. Then I found a camp and was like, OMG, yes, I can rest and restore all my health from my party. But of course some random ass people were there and everything just escalated and everyone died except me. But I was quick and revived my pawns. Hell yeah! Top situation, but a trophy for me. Because after all that they still died and only mini reefs and me remained to explore. Which was kinda a bummer, but it was fine and it didn't take long and we encountered the one and only Sphinx. Basically, she's a character which loves riddles and I love riddles too, so this encounter was nice. Was pretty sick because we both love the same thing. And what's even more sick here is that if I can finish all her riddles, I get another trophy and an item which I need for another trophy. So this was kind of my next big objective here. So I want to go through the riddles here real quick because in the process of going through the riddles I also got some other trophies. But if you don't wanna get spoiled by me showing this to you, just use the timestamps and skip the areas. I try to make the skips as easy as possible. For the first riddle I had to find the object with the greatest value inside a cave she opened up. And well, she kinda started off as an ass here, because this item was right above the entrance. So I went in, ran around the cave and on my way back I noticed the chest above the entrance, got the item and was like, you little ass. But it doesn't matter. Riddle 1 was done. Then riddle 2, I have to show that I am beloved. And I mean, look at my pawn. He basically did some plastic surgery to look like me. How can someone love me more than him? So I placed him and success. Riddle 2 done. Then for the third one, this was a little annoying because she talked about being a lost child and I have to bring her a parent. And this required me to travel all the way back to some village, interact with a riftstone, get a Sphinx parent pawn and travel back to her. And no way I'm gonna run all this way back. So I placed the port crystal, which I just received from the last riddle, and then I used the fairy stone to quickly get back to this village, to the rift stone.
We seem to have arrived without issue.
So as I got the pawn, I traveled back to her, showed her kind of parent, whatever, and the riddle was complete. Then riddle 4 was pretty easy. I just have to give her an item which I value most, so I gave her the board crystal and the riddle was done, so pretty fast forward. Then riddle 5 again was pretty exhausting, because this game has seeker tokens. Those are like little tokens which are randomly contributed around the world. So I had to give her the first I ever found. Normally many are pretty up here, because how should you remember where you found the first one? But I was pretty lucky here, because as I made the quest of freeing the prisoner earlier, I went a completely wrong route and ended up in some tube where I found something quest related, but as I picked the item up, I just saw that this one of these seeker tokens, so that one just stuck with me. But it was still a struggle because I had to get there, and funny as it is, I had no more fairy stones. So I ran back, and on my way back I again encountered those dudes by the camp. They went animal mode again, and one even stole something off me. I smacked him into the ground, got my stuff back, and another trophy. But as I finally was in the city, I got the item where the seeker token was. Went all the way back to the Sphinx and the riddle was done. 5 out of 10 riddles done, and she just flew off to a new location. And I'm gonna be honest here, I felt unsatisfied as I wanted to solve all the riddles now and not wait until to some point in the game later on. So I looked up her location and realized she's pretty much on the edge of the world in a new area across the border. But no worry, even though it's tedious to get there, I at least have to get across the border, and there are 2 trophies which I can earn. So I went to the border, but I didn't have a permit to get through. So I had to do some illicit means. Basically what I had to do was to wait till an ox cart appeared and then just go inside, stand in the middle of it where basically everyone could just see me, but they just didn't care and I was kinda invisible here. So I was in the ox cart, went through the gate and got 2 trophies actually. So that was pretty nice. Then I immediately forgot what I just did and went out of the ox cart and everyone escalated, I got arrested and woke up in prison. Which was kinda my bad here, but it was fine. So I suddenly was in the city of Batthal, where I am story-wise not supposed to be right now, but I had a goal, solve the rest of the riddles. So I tried to get there, but immediately realized how insanely underleveled I am for this area, and the way to the Sphinx was just hell, because I don't know how many times I died, but it was a lot and I was frustrated. So I thought about taking those transport thingies to avoid enemies on the ground, because they just kill me off every few seconds. But you know how that's ended? That griffin, I swear I couldn't get anywhere anymore. The only thing which was nice was that I somehow managed to get on its back at least 2 times since the re-griffining trophy popped up. But I didn't even care at that point. So that I'm not get some PTSD looking at the rest of the footage, I just skipped away till the Sphinx. So I just managed to find her, let's just say that. And actually, just finding her, the reunion with her, was Riddle 6. Then for Riddle 7, there was a contest. I had to show my true strength in a battle against this poor bastard right in front of me. Bye. Then for Riddle 8, she showed me a person and I had to find this exact same person. So I kinda went back to the city as I had no clue where he was, and he also wasn't in my NPC history, so I guess I never met him before. But yeah, that's just how it is. On my way there to the cities, I ended up making a short break and witnessed a destroyed bridge, and on the other side a cyclope. And there's something popped in my head. I kinda remembered that there was a trophy regarding crossing a cyclopean bridge.
No!
And yeah, that was just unlucky, I guess. I mean, I take the blame here, but I also say that this was pretty unlucky. But let's just go back to the riddle. So essentially, I will just skip the process of finding him because it took like forever, but I found the guy I was searching for. He was by the border restaurant, so I picked him up, used the fairy stone and placed him on the podium, and the riddle was done. Then for Riddle 9, I had to place statues on the podium for the number of riddles I solved. So in this case I already solved 8, so I did some running around, and 8 statues later the riddle was done, and I too got the unmaking arrow as a reward. Then one more riddle was left. I had to bring a fragile vase to an NPC, but no fucking way I'm gonna do that. So I traveled back to the city and also realized I maybe should make at least one look through my inventory, as I didn't do that the whole game until to this point. There I saw that I have a pawn specialization tool I never used, and I just activated it. Then, before I got the NPC, I changed my vocation to archer. You will see in a second why. I went to the NPC, put him over my shoulder and fast traveled back to the Sphinx, and everyone was happy. I solved all the riddles and got the full Marks trophy. But there was still one thing left, because the biggest chest behind the Sphinx was still closed. To get it, I had to defeat her. But there's literally no time for this, because she just wants to fly off. So after the riddles were done, I just equipped the unmaking arrow I got as a reward earlier and shot her. She dead, I got the chest, and in the chest was an eternal rakestone, which I needed for another achievement later on. So with that done, I was ready to advance in the story. I went to Brent and said, I am f***ing ready,
Very well.
bitch. So off to the coronation day, but then this happened.
Master, pray, leave this place. My body, it refuses to obey me. There is a voice within my mind. It commands me, sways my very will.
Sways your will? Could it be that the gods sway? We must quit this place, Your Majesty. I fear our plans may fall to naught. Let us return to the tavern.
All the struggle, all the evidence and all the quests just for a white little baby boy with a big bling bling chain around his neck doing something I should only be able to do. I mean, it's fair, I guess. The chain, this little chain, seemed to be the mentioned God's way in the letter. So it seemed that there isn't much to do here. Except there seems to be a place in Batthal where I may discover some method of destroying the necklace. So off to the other side, and look, I got a border entry. I kinda needed that a little bit earlier, but better late than never, I guess. So before I went to the other side, I wiped a little, sorted out my equipment and battled some monsters.
Let my magics grant you an elemental.
And with reaching the max vocation level, I wanted to try something new and change to the warrior, and then made my way to Batthal. There I talked to Menala, and in exchange for my future help she gave me a residence permit. I required to do my suspicious Sphinx here a little bit more unsuspicious. Then, as I was about to enter the city, the ghost reappeared and told me that the God's Way originated in a laboratory right here in Batthal, and I should find a gay and I should find a guy named Ambrosius, cause he works there and maybe he can answer some questions. So I did exactly that. I found him, but he didn't say much other than he's looking for some blue crystals. And honestly, is that fucker blind? Like, look at this. 2 meters in front of him are like 3 big ass crystals. My man, what the f***? But okay, I just picked it up and gave it to him. And he told us that with such crystals you can obtain powers like the Arisen and the power to control pawns. But with such small fragments it's all just meaningless, so we have to find bigger ones. But to find those bigger ones we should talk to a dude 50 meters behind him in a cave. And then in addition to that to some oracle lady. The caveman said that if we want those real crystals we have to go and kill some dragon. And that's it. So in addition to that, I went to the oracle and she just told me about some warmth in the water and that some path will open up for me. I mean, yeah, come on, that's just basic fortune teller stuff. Using broad words which always make sense, or kinda make sense. But she seemed nice, so I trusted her and she told me that maybe some other dude in a village can help us. And indeed, as I traveled there, he did help us. He basically opened up this path the oracle was talking about. So I went in through a cave and reached an area where another ghost waited for me. Actually, he was not only a ghost, he was the founder of the Kingdom of Vernworth. so quite a celebrity. And he kinda gave us a weapon we needed, a blade, which is made out of the soul of an arisen and his own refined impurest dragon blood. So it at least sounds pretty strong. But since it's old, we have to refurbish it because otherwise it's just not it. And that's where Ambrosius came into play, the blind researcher who couldn't find those crystals. I went to him, gave him the blade, and he was like, oh shit, that's amazing, with this I can create an even better God's way. And then he is like, I must hurry and deliver it to Lord Follows. Like, what the f, you ain't gonna do shit. But anyways, then he realized he doesn't even have the materials to make it shine. So we, of course, offer him to get those materials. And I mean, I understand it. He has the knowledge to restore it, and we need that weapon, and we are not gonna let him actually give it to Lord Phasos. But this whole thing is a little bit sus. But it's fine. Before I continued the main quest, I made a quick detour to Vernworth, where I overheard two people talk about a Phantom Ox Cart. I talked to them, accepted the quest, and went on the Phantom Ox Cart as it appeared throughout the quest and got another trophy. And after that quick stop, I made my way to collect those fancy crystals.
Let us not get ahead of ourselves. The battle continues.
I reached the Dragon's Breath Tower, where all the way up to the top was a dragon. So of course I went up, and we as a team and some random dude with some sick moves completely wrecked that dragon's ass. And voila, crystals for me. And in addition to that, this dude started a conversation with me, and it turned out he is the Mystic Spearhead Master, and he gave me the third Master skill. Oh baby. So on my way back to delivering those crystals and getting that blade ready, I changed to the Mystic Spearhead vocation since it looked pretty sick and I want to do those moves too. Then I went back to see the progress Ambrosius made. And what should I say, he kinda went full on psycho and wanted to deliver the blade himself because only he can do it and but I was like, no. But then, no worry, Ghost Dude came to the rescue. He brainwashed him and success. He just gave us the blade and we were now in possession of it. And after that, I was basically almost done with the whole story. Last bit was basically just about reaching the Moonlight Tower, where one way or another the story will end. So I made my way there, and on my way there I had to pursue Lord Phasos. And while doing exactly that, the big old Gigantus appeared, and he seemed kinda friendly. At least it seemed so, as he never even once looked or even acknowledged me or my party or anyone around, and basically just threw his spear after Lord Follows. So I guess he was on our side somehow. So we just ignored it from now. But since he destroyed the bridge, I had to go another route and eventually reach the other side, and so the volcanic islands. And once I was on the island, I made my decision to just follow Gigantus, as I was interested in what would happen if I just fully ignored him. Would he attack us at some point or not, or what just happened? I don't know. So I just went along and waited for something to happen. And honestly, that took quite a long time. I saw in the recording that it was almost like 30 minutes of just walking along, only for a cutscene to play where he gets killed and falls into lava anyways. Kinda, I don't know, I just expect a little bit more epic stuff here, since he kinda seemed pretty epic, but okay. So after I saw this, I wanted to do it another way. I reloaded my save, which was before this whole Gigantus thing. I also knew that I had to change my vocation to Archer because there was a trophy I had to pick up here, where I have to make a fast Gigantus kill happen. Well, Archer vocation and Unmaking Arrow are the play here. So back in, and pretty much immediately I shot that arrow. It didn't end him, but it did lots of damage and pulled off all these little pink thingies out of his body. And all I had to do now was to shoot a few shots from the ballistas standing around, and success. He fell on his knee right in front of the volcanic island camp, and I got a trophy. And after that I can't up because I just followed the quest and somehow I didn't pay enough attention, which ultimately led me to the final boss fight of the game. And I was just way too weak for this, but the problem was that this fight was a point of no return, so I had to load my last save, which was before Gigantos. So I had to do all this stuff for a third time, but this time I just remained as the Mystic Spearhand and did everything again. And after I finally brought him down on his knees, I advanced in the area until I reached the slave camp where I was in the beginning of the game, which is also the location from where I get to the Moonlight Tower, but not yet, because as I said, this is a point of no return and I want to make the same mistake twice or a third time, whatever. And I had some important business to do, as we remember. I only have like 26 out of 54 trophies, so right now I'm just halfway through my 100% run. So the next objective before finishing off this playthrough is to get as much shit done as possible. And for this I made the decision of getting all the trophies in correlation to the vocations and the corresponding master teachings first. I don't even know why, but I did it this way. So this step was a little bit tedious, because for the skills I have to get to the masters themselves, and for each of the masters I have to do a quest. So my first stop was to visit some dude deep in the mountains called Gaudstaffer, I don't know how to pronounce him. And from my current position there were like a fast and a slow way to get to him. And just guess which one I took. And yes, of course I took the slow one, because there was a trophy to pick up. And once I got to him, he was basically a complete wreck. His back hurt, and of course it was my duty to solve all of his problems. I got some herbs, but it didn't help much, so in an effort to make him feel better again, I had to escort him to some hot springs. And once there, he of course was a happy little boy, us too, because we finished it. And it seemed that his wife was a little bit suspicious, because she followed us and never believed our good intentions. What a witch. I mean, literally, she was a witch, because she was the magic archer master, but since we showed her that we are indeed special, she gave us as a reward and for our efforts the magic archer vocation and the corresponding master skill. And honestly, once there, right in front of those hot springs, we of course have to make a quick stop in there too. I mean, look at this sexy beast. Then right in front of the springs we also encountered an alcoholic, and of course I support him. So I went into the city, got some booze, went back to him, gave it to him, and he was happy, and it turned out that he wasn't just a drinking master, no, he actually got the warfare vocation and one more master skill for us. Alright. And after that I went to the city, because I wanted to change my vocation. I heard that the magic archer should be insane and there are also some trophies to obtain, so let's just combine that. So I quickly changed to the trickster, then to the warfarer, and then to the magic archer, which I then kept. But then, to continue with getting the master skills, the next one was pretty tedious, because I went to the top of the map. There was a girl who wanted to learn magic, but her parents were like, no, you are not gonna do that. So I of course helped her in her rebellion. I went around the map to find 5 different books she needed to learn all that magic thingy-majiggy. Then I went to the city and spoke to a sorcerer who also wanted the exact same books, so trauma alert I guess. But no problem, because I went to some dude who can make some fake duplicates of those books, which I then gave to the sorcerer. And oh baby, for a master he ain't be the brightest, but still, no judgment, because I got another skill. And little note here, on my journey to get those books I battled a pretty sick enemy, the Headless Horseman. I smacked his ass and got another trophy. Who would have guessed? So I went back and gave the little girl the originals. I then had to wait a few days and she just escalated, threw her magic spells around like they were nothing. So I wanted to stop her, but I accidentally killed her, which wasn't my intention, but can change it. So I had to use a wake stone to revive her, and a few days later, as she was back on her feet again, she gave me the skill. I also knew that her mother had a skill, but she didn't want to give it to me. Probably because I f***ed up and killed her, and the quest made an update in this position where she then didn't want to give me the skill for whatever reason. So I had to make it another way. And the different kind of way was to gain her affection by gifting her some presents and helping her in some tasks. But nothing really happened. But at some point, after way too many hours, do you know what happened and what helped? I gave her damn husband a misshapen eye from a cyclops. And then she was like, oh my goodness, thanks for the help, here another master skill. Bro, this quest and the one a few meters next to this area just killed me here. I spent too many hours right here. Because close to this area was the warrior master. He needed some weapons and a recruit to train. Well, sounds easy. It also is easy, but not if there is a bug. So I gave him the weapons, found the recruit, but the quest didn't continue for whatever reason. So I went to an oracle to get help. She says, well, some NPC named Ellie is dead, go to the morgue in Vernworth. I went there, but the NPC wasn't. I couldn't continue the quest here and the trophy had to wait for the second playthrough. So I was a little unhappy here, but I still wanted to at least get all of the other skills. So I went on and helped an elf learn some bow and arrow skills and success. Next skill for me. Then I went back to the oracle, aka the trickster, in this big old wasteland. I went up on the building and she was like, oh damn, you found my real me. Here another master skill. At last I helped some dude named Leonard with some stuff. He liked me more and more and at some point gave me the master skill for the fight occasion. So I was at 11 out of 12 master skills and couldn't finish it off. Pretty annoying, but I had to accept and continue. Nothing to do here. So right after talking to Leonard, I took a harpy smoke beacon. And a harpy appeared out of thin air and I grabbed onto her. Then for the next one I went on a rampage of killing off every single innocent animal in this whole game. Because I had to gather some meat. And with that I went camping and made a barbecue party for 8 whole days in a row. Because for this trophy I had to grill every type of meat at night and at daytime. So next on the list were like 3 trophies related to an enemy called Medusa. Basically I had to decapitate her, pick up her head, but it has to be a fresh head, and at third I have to beat her with her own means. So basically if done well you can do this pretty fast, but not if you are me. Once again, here I took a little bit long. Let me explain. I thought I was smart. I went there as the thief, jumped onto her and smacked the absolute shit out of her, but I don't know how many times. But I just couldn't decapitate her. And in addition to that, for the preserved head, she has to lose her head in like the first health bar, or a little bit more first than the health bar. So I had to quit this attempt because I couldn't get this anymore. So I changed my vocation to warrior because biggest weapon, maybe I can do this faster, and I tried again, but it didn't work. Then I changed back to the thief, stole all the equipment from my pawn and tried again. And well, what should I say? It worked flawlessly this time. Because I did so much damage with my pawn's equipment that it just immediately, or just with so many less attacks, it just worked. But you know what didn't work flawlessly? My recording. I completely forgot to press record. Since I ran a few times back and forth, I didn't want to record all that boring stuff and then just went through it in video editing and so on. But well, I just forget to press record again, and then I thought, it's not that bad. At least I got Shadowplay, where I can clip the last 1.5 minutes. But you know what? I deactivated it in the beginning of the playthrough, since there was a little annoying pop-up on the bottom right where the achievements also popped up. So I didn't have any recording and I can't show it to you. But I got those 2 trophies. But at least I noticed it before going back to her for the 3rd trophy. So I teleported back in the city, put that weird head into storage, because in inventory it would have decayed after some time, and Medusa doesn't respawn for like 7 days or so. So I skipped the days, got the head back out of storage and ran back, stoned her.
How many poor souls have fallen victim to this creature petrifying gaze?
There is no denying it. Its powers are fearless in nature.
the light will turn you to stone. Conceal yourself in the shadows to avoid it.
Understood.
Then from here on everything was pretty straightforward. I went back to the caveman called the Dragon Forged and upgraded my pawn's weapon to the maximum level. Then I went back to the city and headed to the morgue. There I revived some random dudes which I never saw in my life before. And after that I went outside and used the Eternal Wakestone I got for killing the Sphinx earlier and revived everyone inside the morgue. So, with that one done, I tried to finish off one of the most annoying trophies ever. I had to get the affection of 50 people. Doesn't sound so difficult, but somehow it took me forever. I didn't include it, but at 3 separate times throughout the playthrough, I spent at least an hour or something like that handing out endless amounts of presents to random people around the cities, but the achievement never popped up. At some point I didn't even know anymore, because I basically already gifted like over 150 items to people, and yes, most of them were like flowers or expensive things, so they were happy about the present. I even went as far as gifting around 40 to 50 worm life crystals, those very special things you need for the good stuff. I don't know what I did wrong, it didn't pop up. But one thing that some redditors said I should do is to just go to the taverns and giving out some good old rounds. So I did exactly that. Went into every tavern, paid a round, slept till the next day and repeated the process until at some point the trophy popped up. And that really wasn't it, if I'm honest. But at least in the process of doing that, I got some crazy fans who followed me around. Look at their cute cheeks. And at some point they even were as crazy as to just entering my home. They went inside and well, look at that. They just smacked the absolute shit out of each other. But that was pretty funny trophy. So after that, there were only 2 trophies left for me to get before I could enter the final chapter of the game. The first was gathering 80 Seeker tokens around the world, and the second one was to discover 50 dungeons. Basically what I did here was to equip a skill from the Trickster vocation called Detection, and all it does is to make those tiny tokens bling and ring. Ah yeah, makes the whole process a little bit easier. I'm just gonna show you a little summary. Then I suddenly found a Cyclops while exploring here. Kinda nervous to pick it up again, but ooh baby, I finally got the Cyclops Bridge trophy. And then done. Tokens and dungeons finally done. That also took quite some time because I didn't explore as much as I thought beforehand. But it was fine, because it was a good feeling. I was finally done with all that stuff and I was ready to enter the final part of the game. So I went back to the slave camp and I made a save and went on to the Moonlight Tower. There I went up an elevator and continued until I found the sucker Phaesus, who was trying to summon and control the dragon. And props to him, he really managed to spawn a dragon. But with arrogance, no one comes far in life. Because a few seconds later the real one slam dunked the small dragon's ass and Lord Phaesus goes Pikachu face. So now I was faced with a decision. Either I'm a coward and sacrifice my best friend, or I fight. And I mean, I struggled all this time to just run away? No, f*** the dragon. It's not about the sacrifice of my best friend. It's about the journey I had until to this point. No way I'm just gonna run away. So I attacked and then flew on his back until he threw me on the ground and the battle began. And honestly, I should have changed my vocation here, because Magic Archer is just completely ridiculous and it should not exist for an epic final battle. I mean, it kinda should exist, but also not, you know what I mean. Because just look at this. I mean, what the f***? The enemy didn't even do one attack and the whole thing was over. That was like 1 second. And yes, that was just it. So I slay the dragon, save the world, and everyone is happy. And I get to claim the throne and be the one and only ruler. And the game was over and this was like the good ending of the game. But that wasn't everything. So I reloaded my last save and went through killing the dragon again. But this time I didn't sit on the throne. Nope. I spoke to the ghost dude beside it, and he asked me if I am not satisfied and if I see greater power and want to rule the whole world. And I mean, sure, I want to. But what is this question even supposed to mean? So that was like the first cutscene, and as it was over, I saw him once again, I talked to him once again, and he was like, I'm gonna show you the fate of this world to affirm your choice. So he sent me back on the dragon's back, I walked up to his heart, and then I used the God's Bane blade on myself. The dragon died, we both fell down, and some warning voices appeared, and then the ghost showed up once again. He wanted to send me back to my world, but I just refused and smacked those ghost people away. And that's how I ended up in this mess of a world. But I'm not judging myself here.
You find it strange.
And once we were in this world, he also told me more about how I should have taken the other way, as I now stand on the remains of this world, and how I'm wrong because I refuse to carry out the great purpose of ruling this world and saving it from its extinction. Or in addition to that, he then also told me that I only have a little bit of time left till the world completely ceases, and we should go and see it with our own eyes and not waste our time. And well, my boy, of course I did exactly that. So right off the bat, I went into the cave where the dragon forged was, because I want a weapon. One I never even used once, but I need it. And that weapon is called Dragon's Dogma. And next off, I went back to where I eliminated Gigantus and a pretty sick cutscene played, where mini reefs floated into his eye, he stood up and walked again, and battled a snake dragon thingy which came from the sky. Pretty epic and pretty nice and pretty straightforward, and I got my next trophy, which was also nice. After that, I had to conquer all the trials of this mess of the world, which basically are just those red beacons across the map. Each of those spawned a boss I had to fight and eliminate. So after I went through them, I received one of my last trophies. Number 50, I guess? I think.
The creature is gone. Let us
Then I only needed one more trophy in this world. And here I completely fucked up. Because I had to finish some questlines where I had to evacuate and lead the people in the major cities to safety. And I tried that, but somehow the quests didn't trigger, and so I thought maybe I need to do something else before that. And well, I saw this one last beacon right in the center of the map and thought, let's just go there and see what it means. And well, as I did exactly that, I didn't realize I'm gonna enter a complete point of no return. And I mean a complete point of no return. No chance of getting back to any safe spots. The big old dragon reappeared and my main pawn transformed into a black drake-like smoke thing, and the final section played where I was crawling along the dragon's back and wings while all the credits rolled. Then Mini Reef sucker punched the dragon's eye, which caused the dragon to plummet down, but to our luck he showed us his vulnerable part, where I then used the Godspin blade and made a dive into his heart and finished him off. Then one more time the ghost's voice appeared, telling us by representing the Great Will that it regrets not witnessing the birth of the Arisen's new world. We also get told that many worlds face obliteration and only the creation of the dragon would save it by starving of oblivion. And that the Arisen is created to slay the dragon and ensure that the cycle keeps on going and prevent it from being consumed by oblivion. But well, with the blade into the hard action, we actually broke the cycle of the dragon and Arisen, and the world gets restored to its original state before all that crazy stuff happens. Also, our tier pawn showed some individual thinking and will in the last sequence, which goes into the direction of breaking the predetermined outcome and such stuff. Also what we get to see is like this fisherman in the one village, which can suddenly just sail away, which also represents like something that the cycle is broken and he can do whatever he wants right now. So this is like the true ending of the game, and the whole game is done, restored to its original state. And yeah, that is basically like what I understood how the true ending goes. I mean, if you have another explanation or a better conclusion, or if I'm just completely wrong with all of the things I said, just tell me, because I want to understand it. And I didn't know anything about this genre or the world of Dragon's Dogma or whatever, and it felt like that the main story skipped like 5 middle parts, and suddenly the story was done, and it was like, is it just me, or did they skip like everything in between, or what? I don't know, but whatever. With the true ending, there's also something else which is true, that the game is over and there is no save to reload or something else, and only New Game Plus is available. So to make this last quest in this Unmoored World, I had to replay the whole game. Yeah, and I need this quest for one of my last trophies, so yeah. But I couldn't change it here. So what did I do? I just speedrun the whole game again. I made a quick stop by the Warrior Master, got the last Master skill and another trophy. Hell yeah, that was nice. Then I basically played the game till the very end. I mean, I noticed one additional trophy I was missing, which was acquiring a pawn badge. So I made a quick stop, killing some Cyclops, and got my almost last trophy. Then fast forward, I once again came into the Unmoored World, but this time I made sure I evacuated all the cities to get my final achievement. And that's the moment I really did finish my 100% run. I look at my Steam and I needed almost exactly 62 hours for this, which was quite a ride. But after all, I thought this run was pretty funny. And basically the game it's just peak comedy. It's just very funny to play. The only thing which is annoying are those little bugs which wouldn't even be that annoying if it wouldn't stop the progress of getting one of the trophies, because I mean that was like the whole point of my run, to get like 100% in this game, and then I'm just stuck a few hours at some quests or something else where I just can't advance forward, and then I'm just annoyed. And the other thing which I don't understand it, but the story is like just, this is the game, kill the dragon, end. And there's like, in the beginning is some politics and some build-up of a story, but then it just skips like every chapter in between and the story is done. And I just don't understand it. Was this like the first part? Was it like the same? I don't know. I never played the first Dragon's Dogma, but it kind of seems like completely rushed. The writing is like, yeah, but I think the game isn't even about that really. I mean, it was kind of obvious that all the game is about is to slay a dragon in the end of the game. So I don't know how much I put into the story at all, but it was fun. And I'm thinking about I'm like someone who likes the 100%, but the last time I did it was like 5 or 6 years ago, and I don't understand why. And honestly, I like to just have this achievement of I really played this game till to the last corner, which, I mean, you can argue that because there is much more to do in this game, but otherwise I want to do some other games, and I thought about, because at some point in the future Elden Ring DLC is coming out, I mean not that long anymore, and I want to 100% it beforehand, but I also want to 100% the Souls series and some other games, but I don't know which and in which direction. But yeah, maybe you have some ideas or what you're interested in seeing. Even if you're even still here, I don't know, man. It's a longest video, but otherwise, if you're still here, then thank you and see you maybe next time, maybe not, whatever. Have a nice day, night, morning, lunch, break, whatever.